All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back. This is our first ever podcast for the Meathead Motivator. I got my boy Scott Lightfoot with me today. We are going to be going over some pretty interesting topics. We're going to go straight out the gate with this one. I personally have been online researching about steroids since I was a little kid. I was intrigued by bodybuilding at a very young age. I wanted to be like these guys. How the fuck do I get like these guys? So what did I do? I started researching steroids. So I know it's a very sensitive subject, but guess what? People do it. I don't give a shit what you do, what type of athlete you are. You have taken a performance-enhancing product sometime in your life if you are an athlete. So we're going to talk a little bit about it today. As you can see, I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't condone this. I just want to educate people about it from my mistakes, my experiences, and how they've affected my life, and also the risk to benefit ratio of what these can do. So I got my boy Scott Lightfoot here with me today. He is getting ready to go for his pro card this year at what show?
Universe in New Jersey.
Universe in New Jersey. He took overall at the Phil Heath last year, which qualified you, correct? Correct. All right. And
qualified me for this. Well, I went in 19 to the North Americans in Pittsburgh. Got 5th place, first call outs, but going back again this year.
Nice, bro. Yeah. So we're all on board with that, man. I'm gonna support his ass all the way to the top for that one. So I'm looking forward to him getting his pro card this year. But all right, so right off the bat, man, we are gonna talk about one of my favorite all-time steroids. I still use it to this day. I am monitored by a doctor on this, and I have to take it just because of the way I used to take it back in the days, which was the wrong way. So I want to tell people, if you are using this, how to take it correctly. So we are going to talk about testosterone. So as many people know, or a lot of people might not know, there's a lot of different forms of testosterone. There's different esters, there's fast acting, there's long acting. They have different purposes. They serve different purposes. As a matter of fact, during the research and learning about these testosterones, some of them are actually very allergic to some people. They can't even take them, and I'm talking about testosterone propionate. It's a very... it hurts when you take it.
That's PMP.
I remember my first show. Somebody told me to put a CC in each one of my calves so they looked massive on stage. Oh my God, it was the worst mistake I've ever done. They blew up. They were huge. I could barely even walk. Stupid. But you live and learn. We do stupid shit. It's how it is. Right. So I guess let's go over just off of experience what I feel was the best testosterone that I've taken. In your opinion, Scott, what do you feel is the best testosterone that you've taken over your career?
By far, Sustanon 250.
Okay.
It's a blend of 4 different testosterones: long esters, short esters, medium chain esters. So not only you get the propionate, you take that shot that day, the propionate's going to kick in, so you're going to have something already working immediately. A couple of days later, another one kicks in. A week later, another one kicks in. And finally, probably 2 weeks out, the final one's really starting to kick in. So you have that blend. So basically, and as you take more and more, the other ones start stacking and stacking. And so basically, it keeps your levels high at all times. So if you take, let's say, an enanthate, it's going to be 2 weeks before you really start seeing any results from it, because that ester takes almost 2 weeks to really release into the body. So when you have a blend or a propionate, like I said, it's about, it'll hit you within a couple hours, and it's good for only 48 hours. So, they're all different and have different purposes.
Right. So what Scott's saying is testosterone, Sustanon, which is usually in a milligram dosage of 250 milligrams, right, is a blend of 4 esters, meaning you get kind of a long chain, a medium chain, and a fast acting chain. So it kind of hits your bloodstream and kind of releases right away and keeps you sustained while you're training. Now, with Sustanon 250, guys, since we're on this topic, obviously this is something that would be used in a bodybuilding or, let's just say bodybuilding atmosphere. It's not going to be prescribed or anything like that.
It's not even legal in the U.S.
Yeah, it's not going to be prescribed. It's not, once again, all this stuff that we are going to be discussing today, you would have to get somewhere, is it black market use or,
Underground labs,
something like this. But Sustanon 250, guys, is...
Oregon makes it. It is a pharmaceutical drug, but
right,
the U.S. has never legally let them sell it.
Correct. So on a bodybuilding platform, what milligram or how much do you think a guy that is going to be competing should take of Sustanon 250?
A competitor should be anywhere from 750 to probably 1,200 milligrams.
So at least a gram a week.
A gram a week's a good average number, yes.
Okay, at least a gram a week. All right. See, me personally, back in the days, I used Sustanon a lot. I used it a lot, and then I was also a big Cypionate guy. Sometimes I would stack two just to get a little bit more Cypionate in me when I was training. So forms of testosterone, guys. I know we jumped straight into Sustanon 250, so that is one form or a blend of testosterone. So we've got Sustanon 250, which is our blend. Mm-hmm. We have testosterone cypionate and enanthate, which is going to be our long-acting or long-lasting testosterone ester. Right. Yes. And then we have testosterone propionate, which is a fast-acting testosterone, which is what most coaches will do. Will pull a lot of the longer-acting testosterones out close to show because we want a fast-acting testosterone that's not going to stay in your system for that long of a time when we get closer to show. And the reason why we do that, which we're going to get into here in a little bit, is just for water retention and aromatization process and all that stuff. But So we got Sustanon, we got cypionate, enanthate, long-acting, we got propionate, and then we also have another testosterone, which is called suspension, where they just take straight testosterone crystal particles and put it and mix it with water.
Well, they have T&E now, test no ester, which is the same thing, but it's in oil.
Okay.
They call it the pre-workout.
Okay.
Because basically you take that test no ester, it's in your system in less than an hour, hits you hard, you go in the gym, you're going to get the aggression from it, and you're gonna feel it. So, and it's out of your system within a couple hours as well. So basically, like I said, they call it a pre-workout. You go in, you get the results from it for a couple hours while you're training, then it's gone.
Right on, man. So just to cover, because as we go on this, we're going to be dumping a lot of knowledge. We're going to be talking, of course, Scott and I are going to be reminiscing our old school bodybuilding days and, of course, current days. But as of right now, Sustanon, we're looking at a 4-test blend. It's got fast and long-acting esters inside of it. You've got testosterone cypionate and enanthate, which is going to be your doctor. If you are getting real testosterone prescribed from a doctor, they're going to most likely prescribe you testosterone cypionate. As long as I've been under the supervision of a doctor, it's always been testosterone cypionate in 200 milligram form. Right. They have never prescribed me no more than 300 milligrams per week, so it's just a dose to get me.
That's a high dose from a doctor.
It is actually a high dose. The last time I went in there, they bumped me up to 300 milligrams a week because my testosterone level was at 68. So it was super low. As a matter of fact, the doctor said, dude, you're producing more estrogen than testosterone right now.
I have the same problem.
Yeah.
I came off for 6 years, and I went and had my test. And I started training again, and I wasn't using gear.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting any results. And I was staying fat. I couldn't get the fat off. I went and had my blood checked. I was at 93.
Yeah, so low, man, low. So we're shut off.
Running PCTs for all those years and coming on and coming off and just jumping around and not doing it the right way.
Right.
Playing the game
so before we get into the risk factor of testosterone, guys, I want to stay right now where we're at. If you are looking to compete or you are a current competitor, if you're looking at experiencing with these products, once again, we're going to give as much knowledge as we can with experiences. We are not a doctor. So if you are looking to do a steroid cycle that involves testosterone, which you should be, because testosterone to me is the key and basically I would say the main building block for all cycles.
Well, any other steroid that you take is going to actually lower your body's ability to produce testosterone. So you have to do testosterone as your base.
Correct.
With any other steroid.
Right.
You can't just take DECA without test. You can't take Tren without test.
Right.
You have to take it.
You have to take testosterone. We have to keep the testosterone levels up for us to gain lean muscle mass. End of story, period. That's why testosterone is the, like I say, the foundation or the main block in a steroid cycle.
All steroids have an anabolic androgenic rating. Testosterone is 100 and 100. So all other steroids are compared off of that 100-100. They say trend anabolic rating is 500 to 100. So you're getting the anabolic 5 times as much as testosterone.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, and I didn't know that on the trend, but I know trend is very powerful. I could only take it for a short amount of times back in the days, and that's just when I was on in competition mode.
I think Halo test is 15 times stronger anabolic than test.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so back on to the topics of testosterone, guys. So if you are wanting to take testosterone, I would say in healthy dose or just a recommended dose, if you are looking to put on lean muscle mass, would be at least 300 to 400 milligrams a week. Would you agree?
Yeah, a lot of them are based off that 250. Okay. So I would say a good starter to build muscle is 500.
Okay.
That's what I would go with.
So 500, guys. All right, so 500, I'd say it's, we could agree on if you are really trying to take a bodybuilding career and you have that passion, if you are wanting to experiment with this product or drug, 500 milligrams would be an optimal level for you to start gaining really good lean muscle mass.
Basically 2 cc's a week.
2 cc's a week. Okay. So now that we're getting into it, so now we got blends, we got long acting, we got fast acting. Now I want to go over the risk to benefit ratio with this. So testosterone, in my experience, very safe when you do it correctly. Just make sure, of course, when you do take testosterone, guys, there is, some key things you need to be informed about, which I was not when I was doing this back in the days. I was a very kind of, I'll do this, let me experiment with this, but didn't know kind of the outside harmful things that could happen if you did not do certain things.
We had bro science back then.
I was kind of even before that. I don't even remember that. But so what I'm talking about, guys, is when you start taking testosterone, the first thing that's really going to happen is your body is going to recognize that there is too much testosterone in your body. So it's immediately going to shut off your natural production. And when that happens, that's okay during the cycle. It's okay because we're getting the testosterone and enough testosterone. It's when you come off of your cycle is when this can be a hazard to your health.
The FSH and the LH, luteinizing hormone, and I forgot what the FHH stands for, but those are the two that are produced that tell your pituitary gland to release testosterone in your body, and those are what get shut down when you start.
Gotcha. So that's actually, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I battle with this every day. When I used to take testosterone, I was up to the gram a week. I was up in the 1,000 milligram range. And when I came off, I just stopped.
Right.
That's all I did. I didn't take no post-cycle therapy. I just said, okay, I'm going to stop, and we'll let my body kind of get back up to where it needs to be, my ranges, and then start again. Well,
you lose a bunch of muscle mass and have to start all over again.
So what ended up happening with me is I had this weird rebound where, like Scott said previously, was I got this belly gut that I could never get rid of. It was just always holding there, no matter how much good clean food I was eating. It was stuck right there. And as a matter of fact, I still deal with it today. But until about 6 years ago, when I actually started being under the supervision of a doctor and understanding that I needed to get my blood work done and see how my blood was functioning, I was completely shut off. My testicles never dropped. I never started producing natural testosterone again. So I was shut off. And talk about the side effects that we're going to get into here, just the lack of sleep, the lack of energy, no sex drive. Man, I was messed up. One of the craziest things that I remember going through all the time was just my lack of focus, tunnel vision. Just I was there but not there. If that's if that makes sense. So if you are suffering from any type of these feelings, guys, and not saying you had to take a steroid cycle or do testosterone at all, as we age, men we naturally decrease in testosterone. So if you are feeling lack of sleep, lack of energy,
Here, do you want me to run through the list?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, okay. Let's go for it. Let's go through it all. That way we nail everything.
So loss of libido.
Okay.
This can be a partial or total loss of libido, erectile dysfunction, inability to maintain an erection, loss of muscle mass, loss of strength, increased body fat, loss of mental clarity, decreased ability to focus, lethargy, insomnia, irritability, decreased energy, depression, and a weakened immune system.
There you go. So that right there, as a matter of fact, everything you said right there, I've experienced. Right. I've experienced and had to push through and kept training through that, wondering what the hell was going on. I didn't find this out until, once again, 6 years ago. I got my blood work done, and then I was like, "Holy shit! I feel alive again." So back to what I'm saying, guys. When we get into testosterone and taking dosages of testosterone, a couple things can happen. Testosterone can convert into estrogen or DHT. There's an aromatization process where the testosterone will convert into estrogen. And when that happens, gynecomastia can develop, which are male, what we call bitch tits. You can get a
puffy nipples.
Puffy nipple or sensitive nipples. We can get very oily skin, loss of hair, very, very bad acne. We can have prostate enlargement. Another key thing, and this is one thing that I'm actually going through right now currently, is just the thickness of your blood. I'm actually right now currently having to take baby aspirin every other day to keep my blood healthy and thin for me to pump my blood correctly.
One of the things that testosterone does is increases your red blood cell count.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, you get thicker blood, and you have the chances that you could get clotting and things of that nature, where
Right.
you could have major issues.
Correct.
And it also, your left heart ventricle, over time with large amounts of testosterone, is going to increase the muscle size, which makes the actual size of that ventricle smaller, so it makes your heart have to pump harder over time.
And that's the high risk of stroke and heart attack.
Heart attack and heart disease.
Right. Correct. So guys, getting into this, and this applies, this isn't just for steroids. We're trying to educate you guys and let people understand that this can be a very beneficial product. It can also be a very risky and dangerous product if you do not take it to correctly or abuse it. And that's what I think goes on a lot these days, is a lot of guys abuse the shit out of this stuff, really don't give a fuck, and they're just trying to take on one goal to get as big as they fucking can, and that's it. There's only one drive, one goal, one mission for that shit. So if you take this stuff correctly with the correct diet, correct training regimen.
Diet's so important.
Diet is so important when you are on any type of anabolic
not
steroid.
only for your cholesterol levels, which are going to be flipped upside down. Your bad cholesterol is going to be high, your good cholesterol is going to be good, and that's one of the side effects. So if you're eating a high-fat diet, you're going to really put yourself at risk. So that's one reason you need to eat clean. Not only that, I've taken cycles all the way through and didn't make any gains on them because why? I wasn't eating right.
It was a
total waste of time.
Man,
it's not a magic drug. You have to do your part.
Right. And while we're on this topic, because I get so many messages and there's so many haters out there, and I hear steroid all the time, and it's like, look, man, steroids, they don't just make you big.
No.
They don't just make you look like this at all. You have to work your fucking ass off to do this. What I've learned when I'm taking testosterone or doing a cycle is it makes me have the mindset, the aggression gets a little bit, I get to where I can release it, and I train my ass off.
It makes you want to work hard.
It makes me want to work harder. And in doing that, I grow muscle faster. Right. One thing that really I like about it is it keeps me so focused in my mind, right? Because I know I'm doing something to help me get to this goal. It makes me stay on track.
Exactly.
It makes me stay on track to my regimen. So that's why I really love when I get right back on, because I'm so focused and positive and motivated to do it. So that's one of my biggest deals. But there is no steroid out there that you can take, injection or by mouth orally, that is going to make you look like Mr. Olympia or a bodybuilder sitting on your ass eating fucking McDonald's and watching TV. Right. It's unheard of. There's nothing like that. So when I hear people saying, oh, he's on steroids, that's not cheating. That to me, that is me knowing my goal and passion and what I want to do to get that look, and I have to bust my ass to get there.
Right.
And I've heard this go through so many interviews, and every bodybuilder will agree with me. You got to put the dedicated hard work in to achieve that look. It's not about juicing yourself up or taking drugs.
And the way I feel about it is, when you start out in bodybuilding, you have a good 4 years where you're going to be able to make gains.
Mm-hmm.
And after those 4 years, you're going to hit that plateau where you're just not, your body's going to say no. And you're not going to be able to make those gains anymore. And you can't go forward without adding something to your regimen.
Right.
So you add the testosterone, and that's going to help you keep pushing forward, because your body has limits where it doesn't want to go past there. And that's myostatin and other things. Mm-hmm. And so adding these other things are going to help push you past and get you to your goals. Where a natural bodybuilder is going to probably be plateaued out and not be able to go past that.
Absolutely. And here's another thing too. And I've seen some natural bodybuilders look fucking phenomenal. Like, I don't believe they're not taking anything. It can be achieved. I know it's out there. But if you put a guy in the same room with a natural bodybuilder with the same heart and dedication to a guy that has the same heart and dedication to taking an anabolic steroid, the effects are going to look completely different. There is a reason why they are called performance-enhancing products. We still have to work our ass off to get there. Either way, the work has to be put in.
Right.
Either way. So yeah, guys, back on this. I know we went off on a little ramble there. Back on the actual testosterone talk, okay? We went over some risks we got to watch out for. We know that testosterone can convert into estrogen. It can convert into DHT, which is what we are trying to eliminate. We do not want that process to start. So usually when we take testosterone products, majority of the time, some people will stack it with HCG to keep their natural production working while we're on cycle.
The LH and all that.
There you go. And then also, too, we will take estrogen blockers, which from the street talk is going to be your
Well, you have a blocker, which is going to be your novel
Your
dex.
right.
But then you have an AI, which is going to absolutely kill the estrogen, which is your aromatase inhibitor.
Okay.
Which is going to be your letrozole, your Arimidex, and there's, I think, 3 or 4 of them. But
Okay.
those are your basic 2.
There you go. So, yeah, when you take this stuff, guys, if anybody is looking to start one of these cycles, you have to do the complete cycle, correctly. We can't just pop testosterone into our system and expect this to work correctly. I did that in the past. I'm living proof it did not work correctly. I have to take testosterone once a week now just to keep my production where it needs to be. So if we do it correctly, which is we take our safe dose, which is what we agreed on for a bodybuilding, but we're right around that 500 milligram mark, we are going to need a blocker. Okay. Then we're going to need, what'd you say, Scott?
Your AI?
Your AI, your anti-estrogen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or your aromatase inhibitor.
There you go. Your aromatase inhibitor. There you go.
Watch, and you take one of those 1 milligram every 3rd day.
Okay. There you go. And then obviously too, if you do want to run an HCG, product, or all that's going to do basically, guys, is keep your testicles producing testosterone. It keeps your natural production working.
I like to take the HCG when I come off completely.
Correct.
If I don't anymore because I can't, but if I was somebody that's younger and you're still going to come off your cycles completely, when you come off, you take the HCG,
right,
help kick your natural production back in. Plus, you take the Novaldex to keep the estrogen levels down. And Clomid's another one that people take, and it helps kick everything back in. The combination of the 3 when you come off for about 4 weeks, and you should be good to go.
There you go. All right, so just a little recap. So we went over our blends. We went over our different esters. Now, guys, if you're getting ready to compete going into a show, there's different cycles, of course. There's different types of testosterone, which we've already went over, that you can take during the show process. And obviously, you got to switch some of your testosterone around as we get closer to show. If you are planning on competing, your coach or whoever you're working with will most likely get you off of all of your long-acting testosterone.
2 weeks out.
Yeah, 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out, you should be switching to a fast-acting testosterone, which is most likely going to be your propionate.
Right.
Your testosterone propionate. I highly doubt that
You're still going to come off that probably a week out.
Yeah, and you're still going to come off that. And the reason why is because of the water retention.
You're trying to look hard. You don't want to be holding water.
Correct. Testosterone will make you retain a little bit of water. So we want to basically pull that water, that test out, so we make sure we get all that last little bit of water so you're conditioning and your body looks hard and conditioned on stage. What else do we need to go?
Here, let me run through what the benefits of taking testosterone are, and you can expand on
Go for it.
So it has enhanced protein synthesis.
Okay.
So you want to expand on that? Like what?
Like how testosterone?
Okay, so enhanced protein synthesis. So when you intake protein, it's going to help enhance the usage of that protein to rebuild muscle.
Right.
Enhanced nitrogen retention.
Okay.
Which the more nitrogen you have in your body, the more anabolic state you're in. If you have a low nitrogen in your body, then you have a catabolic state, which is where your muscles are actually being eaten or taken away.
On that subject right here, guys, just because as we get through this, so we are either anabolic or we're catabolic, okay? And what we are trying to achieve at all times is staying anabolic. And what anabolic means is our body is feeding off of fat for energy. Catabolic, which is mainly we can get catabolic when we sleep because we're staying in one position for a long period of time. We're not feeding ourselves. That's where our body taps into muscle for energy. So we always want to be staying anabolic.
Correct. The other thing is it's increased red blood cell count. Red blood cells carry oxygen in the muscles, which in turn is going to enhance your endurance.
Okay.
Increased IGF-1 output. IGF-1 is made by the liver. It's very, very anabolic, and it's going to help build muscles. And inhibition of your cortisol, which is also another thing that's going to put you in a catabolic state.
Gotcha. Okay.
Where it's going to keep you from sleeping and other things of that nature.
So it helps out with cortisol levels.
Correct.
And that's another topic we're going to discuss later, but that's why we're trying to bring out the quarter block. Yeah, man. All right, so back on discussion. I know we're hitting a very sensitive subject here. Once again, guys, we are just trying to educate. This is going off of our experiences.
Oh, one last thing. Testosterone is not toxic to the liver.
Perfect.
So that means that you do not have to worry as much about being careful about your liver and your kidneys. A lot of steroids, you have to take different herbal supplements to help keep your liver.
Yeah, I was always told, and this could be a complete bullshit, but I was always told injectable anabolic steroids or anything injectable for that matter is always going to be safer getting into the body versus orally.
Because an oral steroid is methylated, and a methylated compound that goes through your liver is very, very toxic.
Gotcha. So that's when we got to get liver supports and a whole bunch of stuff. Gotcha. All right. So, yes, if you are planning on doing testosterone, guys, it is a very, very awesome steroid to use. Like I said, I would consider out of all of them, which we are going to get in, we're going to get into some other steroid topics on our next show. I would say testosterone is going to be, as far as one of your safer products to take. I mean, it's
natural to your body.
We are exactly. We're already naturally producing it, so all we're doing is trying to put more of it in there to help us build lean muscle. The more lean muscle we have on our body, guys, it's harder for our body to produce fat. So that's our objective, our overall goal is to continue to build lean muscle so we can continue to burn fat.
Metabolism.
Correct. Yeah. Speed up metabolism. And in return with that, when we do have a sped up metabolism and we are putting on lean muscle mass, your overall body feels better. You don't feel all drained all the time. Like majority of the world, they wake up to an average 9 to 5, 8 to 4 job. They sit at a desk job. They might eat 1 or 2 times a day, and it's fast food. It's just junk. So when you actually do get on a healthy regimen, not saying you have to apply testosterone, but I'm just speaking in general now. When you are on a healthy regimen like we applying the diet that we have to do and have to monitor when we on testosterone just due to what it does to our blood and what it can do to our bodies, it's an overall feeling. It's a better energy, better positive outlook. I mean, your overall day feels better. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
I feel better.
Yeah, I feel better.
I feel way. Sure. I mean, when I was at 68 or 69 on my chart, I mean, the day he popped me, an hour and a half later, I was like, man, I feel good. Like I'm feeling a lot. And then the next day, and then I noticed my sleep was starting to get better. Then my sex drive went up, which I was super happy about. I had
no sex drive, and I was tired.
All the time, man.
All the time.
Yeah. So yeah, if you were suffering, from what we discussed, one of my biggest things that I always look it was just a lack of energy. Just feeling like, and also to my mood, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't have that drive to go out and just, fucking get it like I was normally used to doing. I was like, man, I just don't even care. Right. I don't even give a shit right now. I don't care. But once I got my levels back to where they needed to be, I got back on my grind right away,
Something else I want to throw out there is you have free testosterone and total testosterone in your bloodstream. So your free testosterone is what is not bound to the SBGH, sex hormone binding globulin, which is in your blood. So when you take a shot of testosterone, a person that has higher SBGH is going to have more of it bound up to that, and less of it's going to be free. Only the free testosterone can be used by your muscles to produce more mass. So if you have a high SBGH level, then you're going to have less free and less of it's going to be used. You could have over 3,000 total, but your free testosterone may be 800 or 1,000.
Right.
That's actually usable by your body. And that's why you take things like Proviron with the testosterone. Proviron is going to bind itself to your SBGH and make it unavailable, and more of it's going to stay free.
Gotcha.
So that's why there's other steroids that actually benefit and make the testosterone work better.
And the more, you hit it right now. This is why we call it a cycle.
Right.
It's a cycle because we take one. This one aids this one.
Every drug has a little bit different.
Right. And that's why when you have the complete cycle, and before I get too off topic, what in your opinion, or in your eyes, through all of your competition days, steroid cycles, what do you feel benefited you the most? What cycle? What did you stack testosterone with, and what type of testosterone did you use?
For bulking?
Let's say for a mass bulk phase.
I would do testosterone mixed with.
What type of testosterone?
I would use the Sustanon.
Okay.
With Equipoise.
Okay.
With Deca and Proviron.
And Proviron?
Yeah. And then, also, of course, HGH stacked in there too.
Some HGH.
And maybe even insulin if you really want to jump out there.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, see, insulin, man, I know we're getting off, but that's the one thing I've never experienced, never tried. I always told myself back in the days I never wanted to fuck with anything that did.
I said the same thing, but you keep getting further and further into that bodybuilding world and further into competing, and next thing you know, you're doing things you said you're never going to do.
Well, to push.
As long as you know what you're doing and you have a coach watching you, and that changes everything.
You have to have somebody that is constantly monitoring everything.
You have to be knowledgeable. Don't jump into something if you're not 120% knowledgeable.
For sure. You have to be. You have to be, man. That's why I wish I had two meatheads like us that did this shit when I started back when I was fucking 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know shit. All I knew is, oh, man, I got these vials from Mexico. Okay, let me try this shit. And I just tried it. I just experimented with it, and now I'm here.
I'm going to throw this out there. I know there's a lot of underground labs. There's a lot of places to get steroids or testosterone, one being the doctor, and you can get it that way, and that's the safe way. But if you're going to jump out there and not go through a doctor, you can go through NAPS gear, which is that's a pain. It takes months to get it. It comes through customs, and there's all these other issues. I've got a supplier that's here in the U.S. It comes to you in 4 to 5 days. It's real easy. You can sell the money to the guy. And he's at www.acelabs.pro. Very simple, good, clean gear. Great stuff. That's one source you could use. That's where I get mine from.
There you go. I mean, yeah. So once again, this is here for knowledge. This is here for you to take it in. I hope we can relate to you guys. I know... like I said, I've been under the supervision of a doctor, and that's the only route I go because I like to be under the supervision of a doctor. I've seen several doctors that I felt didn't know shit. I felt I couldn't relate to. I felt every time I went in there, they were almost worse than going to on the street. The first 2 doctors I went to, even though they were monitoring my blood, were not. They did not educate me. I walked in there and said, "Okay, what do you need?" I'm like, what do I need? I mean, you're my doctor. Like, no, you tell me. You read my blood, and you tell me what I need to get to this goal.
Right.
And when I started to catch on to this stuff, I'm like, Jesus. I mean, dude, one doctor had me convinced I had a kidney disease for a year and a half. Couldn't take pre-workouts, nothing. Went to the next doctor. They took my blood. You don't have a kidney disease. What the hell is this guy talking about? So doctor or street use, I'm up in the air of just how does it make me feel? I'm going to research my gear. I'm going to research what it is, and then I'm going to see how it affects me.
Worst case, I go to any lab test now to get my blood drawn. I think it's $200 for a full panel.
Yeah.
Hormonal, cholesterol, blood work, everything. And if you don't know how to read that, find somebody that's knowledgeable that can. At least do that every couple months. At least prior to starting a cycle, maybe halfway through a cycle, and then once you come off to make sure you recovered, at least get those 3 if you want to stay safe.
No, that's the only way. If I would have known that back in the days like I know now, the only way to do this is by blood work. You go get your blood work done. Once again, I've got an amazing doctor in town I go to. If anybody is looking to do this and wanting to do it the 100% legit way, it's not the cheapest way, but it is the most legit way. Dr. Larry Lipschultz here at downtown at Baylor. That's who my doctor is, and so far it has been amazing. This is the best I've felt. I love everything in his program that he has put me on. He's been keeping track of me. As a matter of fact, I got to go see him next week. So if you are looking to start a cycle, guys, there's multiple routes to do. Of course, we've mentioned all of those. We don't condone any way, or we don't promote doing this. We just want to educate you off of the choices that Scott and I have done because we are bodybuilders. We wanted to be bodybuilders.
And there's a ton of forums on the internet if you want to research and learn more.
Yeah.
Some of it's bro science, some of it's good stuff. Mm-hmm. Even steroid.com has a lot of good information on each.
Steroid.com turned into anabolic reviews turned into
steroid.com.
Is it okay? Yeah. I remember I used to go on this one back in the days called anabolicreview.com. I mean, they had everything listed, and that's where I got a lot of my knowledge from back in the day was from that. But majority of the time, it's just 2 guys like you and I on there typing, "Oh man, I tried this gear," and you know what I'm saying. So it was just the research, once again, I'm not a fucking doctor, but the research, I don't know how much research is really out on a lot of this stuff. I think it's more just, hey, I'm a rat, man. Let's just test.
Right.
Let's just test. Let's see what it does,
Professional Muscle's another one that's legit. They got a bunch of IFBB pros on there talking about gear. And it's real legit. Steroids is a good place to go for if you want to find suppliers and good information.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we're going to sign out on this first podcast. Once again, if you try to take an anabolic steroid and you are interested in doing this, please do your research. We're only here to educate people off what we have done. We have made mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Try to limit those mistakes to least as possible and do it the correct way. Anything else, Scott?
I think we got it.
I think we got it, guys. If y'all want more of this or want to listen to more of our podcast, please subscribe.